Hey, this is Notser, and today we're in the Tier 10 German cruiser Hindenburg. We're on the map Hotspot. The build is on the screen. I wanted to test this beauty in an aircraft carrier game. And boy, is it an aircraft carrier game, because look who my opponent is. No Zoup for you. He is a wargaming NACC. I've gone to many events with him, and he's a pretty cool dude. He makes content as well, and I just want to see how effective I could be. Now, for the Hindenburg, I chose not to pick up defensive AA. I want to try and make this work with my German hydroacoustic. The only AA skill I have chosen is the manual AA skill, which I use for faster sector switching and also a greater continuous DPS. Continuous DPS is always the best option because it's unavoidable damage for the aircraft carriers. So I want to see how well this works out. The interesting thing about the Germans, they've got an interesting medium range aura. It goes out to 4 kilometers and it goes to a very high number. So when you're approaching the Germans specifically, their medium range will start sooner, and that means you're going to be taking damage quicker at a higher rate. It's not that it is just a massive number. You know, the Minotaur is still going to beat it monsterly and continuous. But the Germans are deceptively effective in the AA space, I have found. So, headed back towards C Point. I was going towards the teammates to sort of group up and help, maybe provide some AA support for the Z-52. As it stands, the enemy aircraft carrier, he sent his dive bomb, his AP dive bomb, since it's a Hakuryu, towards what looks like the Bismarck. Now, I would love to try and help him out, but clearly, I'm not quite there yet. Now, the Hindenburg did not gain the ability to stealth fire its AA guns with the air detection buff to everyone. But what it did allow it to do is it allowed it to exist much less in the visual open. Because of the detection being nerfed, or I guess buffed in this regard for the Hindenburg, the enemy aircraft carrier has to work a lot harder, and he basically has to commit to taking damage if he wants to spot me for an extended period of time. And that works out very well, and there we go. First Citadel from the AP bombs of the Hakuryu. A little unfortunate from my standpoint, because I did everything I could to maneuver, and yet he still found home a AP bomb, but that's okay. We're not dead, and happy Citadels. Happy Citadels. That's just wonderful. I don't like happy Citadels, in fact, and he's just, Zoup. Alright, now, C Point not captured. We have the Z-52, obviously, attempting to capture. It looks like there might be a couple enemies south of C, which I would love to fire on if they were spotted. Hindenburg is pretty interesting in that it has a lot of great tools, just in general. It feels very useful always. It's got torpedoes, it's got a pretty fast reload, high gun velocity, honestly, so you can effectively hit at your max range or beyond with scout aircraft. It's got IFHE baked in, so it's a lot less shatters on the target. And then its AP is actually pretty outstanding. So what you end up having is, you know, the ship really has the tools for every single scenario. And I just want to highlight that fact even more. It's sort of a ship that's died off in popularity. But I think with the aircraft carrier rework, it's going to be a little bit more interesting because it won't have to go all in with defensive AA to fight off aircraft effectively. Unfortunately, for a lot of the Tier 10 cruisers, they basically are required to take defensive AA to have any effectiveness in the AA space. But I don't think the Hindenburg needs to, and honestly, the Hindenburg has never needed to take something like manual AA. It could rely on its pretty solid AA defense. Just by extending the AA aura, as you did previously, that was enough to make it honestly withstand a lot of incoming aircraft attacks. So it's more of the same since that identity existed for the Hindenburg. It's just been transformed with the new AA system and the priority sector system. So I was able to dodge most of that damage. You might have noticed that I used my hydroacoustic. I like the German hydroacoustic. I want to try and make it work. And with German hydroacoustic, I can forcibly spot enemy aircraft carrier torpedoes, another tool that I can use to mitigate incoming damage. I don't really feel like I need to hold on to it because I'm not really close to the enemy. The closest threat was, in fact, the torpedo squadrons. So I don't regret the hydro use, and they're always going to have sort of that stealth torpedo for the Hakuryu available, at least for the foreseeable future. They could decide to completely scrap that idea, but the Hindenburg is always going to be effective at a pre-screen. So I really enjoy just all of the tools available. It's sort of a jack of all trade. It's definitely not a master of none, but it's a jack of all trade ship to me, and jack of all trade ships are what I dominate in. They absolutely are. And this enemy Cleveland, he was being incredibly bold. I can't believe the Cleveland went to the center of the map. I'm hoping to just finish him off. We do finish him off. And I'm still in a great position to punish. So, enemy Richelieu looks like he's backing up. Of course, we have dive bombs incoming. I'm not surprised at all. Zoup is absolutely aware that it's Notser. I've played with this guy. I've played against him. I've talked to him all the time. Probably wants to take him out of the game, and ooh, unfortunate. Sort of forced a perpendicular drop from the dive bomb. Perpendicular drops from dive bombs are awful. I don't care what dive bomb you're in control of, perpendicular is not the way to go. And I need to lead this Richelieu just a little bit more while actively maneuvering, of course. He gets a little bit of damage that time, doesn't? He may or may not have hit the Citadel. But the Richelieu should be dead with this salvo or friendly salvo. Friendlies miss out. Are you kidding me? 240 hit points? Does the game hate me? Yes. Yes, the game does. But I guess I'm the only one who has line of sight from that exact position. And I was able to finish it off. And I'm looking to engage the Baltimore, who is attempting to sort of radar camp C point, but clearly we've already captured it. This is now a disadvantage for him. Regardless, I'm going to rotate my guns, and I'm going to engage him. And he's detected by the friendly, who, to be fair, the Midway is being pretty bold going after a Baltimore, especially a Baltimore that isn't quite up against an island, where his AA can't block, and he's like, don't do it, Notser. Do what? I have no idea what you're talking about. That is, by the way, the Baltimore. You mean fire my guns at a general area that happens to include your ship? No, never. I've never done that before to anyone. I love this, though. I'm so far back. It is a long-range fire support platform, but I can then transition into a close-range engagement very easily with the Hindenburg. And interestingly, in this position, I'm not spotted. So this is free damage, and I love free damage. And the Hindenburg, boy, it is a real treat to control always. I love the size, the armor profile, the torpedoes, the tools that are available. I love the way the guns handle. Everything about it is just a pleasure to control. And we're just working down the Baltimore, who isn't really actively maneuvering. That is working against him, but I don't really know that anything can save him. You know, he's pretty much done as long as my teammates continue to keep him spotted. And here comes Zoup. He's getting a little bit of, yep, he flied a little bit too close. We get another kill, and we deny the enemy a chance to drop on us. Now we are basically going 1-for-1 with the enemy. We have 2 bases to their none. That's our advantage. And I see that the advantage for the enemy is on the western flank. So I'm going to try and work my way over there, and I'm going to attempt to help my teammates. There's a Montana that is trying to line of sight the Missouri, but he does have 2 Shimas that are keeping him spotted. And that's really unfortunate. This enemy Missouri is attempting to capture. This is a perfect example of why, as a DD, regardless of what you're doing, you must try to contribute in the objective control space, because if you don't, who else can? Every other ship is pretty much spotted very easily from the moon or otherwise. This Montana is taking torpedoes and damage. I can't really see the Missouri to fire on, but he can see me, of course. So there is a risk that I'll take damage. And these 2 Shimas, The Montana is so low that they're actually attempting to shoot him dead. So I recognize this situation. I'm going to try and contribute my guns to dissuade the Shimas or eliminate them so the Montana can try and recover. This isn't the best situation for me. I am not close enough to guarantee these shots. But honestly, I don't know what else to do. And fortunately for us, the Missouri overpins. He doesn't actually land in the Citadel, and I'm trying to also move that island in between myself and... Oh, God, come on, more lead. I'm trying to position that island in between myself and the Missouri while helping the Montana, and they're just slowly working him down, and oh, my God, I can't hit broadside of a barn right now. I'm landing just a little bit too short. We elevate the gun, and... Really? Even more lead. I mean, he is at 12 kilometers, Notser. You need to try and lead him more than that. Friendly looks to be able to finish him off, and the one time my shell will actually disperse on the target, he's able to finish him off. And I felt so guilty there, because I really was trying very hard to keep the Montana alive. But I wasn't able to react in time, and oh no, not you. But look where his guns are facing. He was actually faced towards the enemy Montana and not towards me. So what I can do is I can try and increase the angle to the enemy Missouri, sail north, fire my guns on cooldown, and since he's broadside, I'm actually going to equip AP and try and punish that way. His guns are still not pointed this way, so I'm tending to believe that something has gone wrong. Either he has disconnected, he's gone AFK, or maybe his PC or the game itself has crashed or something. I don't actually think he's in control, and I know the feeling on these. You move into a position of the map where you feel like, okay, I can contribute. But just as you are vulnerable, your PC crashes or something stupid like that. So I am working my way over to the Shima. I did choose to use my hydroacoustic, though, because hydroacoustic is awesome, and I know that the threat of torpedoes is incredibly real. We get one last salvo, and, you know, the salvo just before it was 90,000. Just barely not enough to finish the target off, and I got this giant island that I just have to watch as the Missouri sits there on low health. Yes, dump that into the side of the island. Keep on dumping. Honestly, if this Missouri isn't AFK, it's a lot harder for me. I don't think it's impossible because I have 4 heal charges, but it's a lot harder for me. And he finally comes back. Literally just came back. You saw how the Missouri started moving, but it wasn't enough. We already had finished him off at that point, and my hydro is still up, and I'm still going to try and push into the Shima. Now, I don't know exactly where he is because obviously I don't have radio location. But each torpedo send gives me a little bit of a clue where he is roughly. So I'm going to sail towards where I think the torpedoes came from. I also would love a friendly aircraft carrier to spot, but that friendly aircraft carrier was going to try and torpedo the Missouri. And yeah, he's perfect. Perfect disconnect. Die. And here we go. The Shima was not trying to gain distance, and this is a huge mistake by him. I now have spotted him in my German hydroacoustic, and I'm just going to sail directly towards him. We still have 47 seconds left of German hydro. I do have the super container module that extends the duration, and that works beautifully, I must say. We're just going to push into him. My team still has 2 bases to their 1. Honestly, I think the enemy team could have easily have won this game if a couple of their team would have played it a little bit better. I just didn't have the kind of support, and look, all of my teammates, they threw their ships away by running into the enemy. But as we continue to sail forward, we clip him with 10 seconds left on our hydro, and I think he underestimated the duration that was still available. This is really bad for him. He's broadside. I still am gaining ground just slightly on him. We have the hydro for 1 last second. Unfortunately, we lose it. I call my aircraft. Maybe I should have scrambled it a little bit sooner. And I'm sort of helpless in my effort to see this guy, and friendly dive bomb arrives just in the nick of time. And looky there. Zoup was trying to scramble his torpedo squadron, but he was so far away from me by the time he actually got here, it was too late. The enemy was dead, and I was able to use the smoke to prevent him from being able to line up the perfect torpedo attack. And I felt so validated by this tactic, validated by this build. This was a great game. This was absolutely wonderful. I loved controlling the Hindenburg, and honestly, just the slight tweaks to the build, manual AA, it felt perfect. It felt just enough AA that I felt like I had control, but obviously I couldn't wipe it out fast enough that one squadron wasn't able to contribute, and that's not my goal. My goal is to do a good to great job in all aspects rather than do an amazing job in one or two. And I think that's what we did. I think that's exactly what we did. And I'm going to try and move forward. Looks like an enemy, well, I think I heard for a split second a sound confirmation of capturing attempt or whatever. I don't really know. But as we move forward, it's just ticking down very slowly. 3 minutes left in the game. There's really nothing they can do. We have such a huge advantage, and as long as I just actively maneuver, the enemy aircraft carrier can't do anything against me. Honestly, I don't know that it matters what type of cruiser or build. As long as you're actively maneuvering against the enemy aircraft carrier, it's really hard for him to stick a lot of damage. So I'm going to try and set up another perpendicular drop. So I'm turning a hard to starboard. I don't want this to be as accurate as it can be. It looks like he may have hit one citadel, but one citadel is not enough to win this game, and we absolutely crushed it. So did the enemy Yamato, by the way. He also earned Kraken Unleashed. So both sides had the carry potential, every element they needed to win the game. One just prevailed over the other, and I'm really happy that I was on that team because obviously I contributed a lot to it. But the Hindenburg, Kraken Unleashed, 124,000 damage done, 18 aircraft shot down, 5 kills, 2,428 base XP. Look at the Yamato. Peppers has got to be just sick to his stomach. So is that Missouri. It was a good Missouri. He just got disconnected in the worst possible moment, and my midway didn't really help that much. But I'm happy that I got to play the Hindenburg. I love that build. Leave in the comments what you think of the game, the build, Hindenburg as a whole. I can't wait to read them. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.